Hey, 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 it's Dr. Joe from Atlanta. Welcome to Your Wellness for Life. I'm here with trainer, nutritionist, fitness coach, health coach, lifestyle coach, Evan Pohl, and welcome to Fitness Friday.
Where are you? Are you in Wyoming?
I'm in Wyoming, enjoying the weekend. I'm going to go skiing tomorrow. I'm going to do a little cross-country skiing this
There you go.
afternoon, maybe go ice skating tonight. I'm just enjoying a little winter sports and staying in this beautiful lodge in Wyoming.
Yeah, if anybody's from Winder and they've ever heard somebody outside of Winder pronounce where I'm at, I'm in Winder, and they
I'm,
would have that as a joke, huh?
yeah, you're in Winter Park.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like I'm in Winder, but so many people when they call and they're like, "Oh, are you in Winder, Georgia?" I'm like, "No, you're close, but it's Winder." So, like if somebody from California were to call or whatever it
I
is.
remember when we had all that equipment shipped that the equipment guy said, Winder? You in Winder,
Yeah,
Georgia?
yeah.
And
So
what makes it Winder? I mean, it could be Winder.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay. All right. So we got Fitness Friday. And the topic today is going to be view pregnancy as an athletic event. And I'd like to talk about exercise and fitness before you get pregnant, and exercise and fitness while you're pregnant, and then maybe even after you get pregnant.
Yeah,
So,
and, real quick, I trained her today, and she said she always watches your videos. So if she watches this, I'm going to give Flo a shout out.
that's a scary thing.
So she before she goes to bed, she watches them.
Yeah.
So
So pregnancy is an athletic event. I've been saying that for years. I'm a obstetrician of 35 years of experience, and I'm down to my last, I think, 55 or so deliveries to do between now and the end of May, and then I'm done being an obstetrician. Then I'm just going to be doing just gynecology and wellness and whatever else I get myself into. But that doesn't mean I'm going to take my eye off the ball. It doesn't mean I'm going to take myself out of the game, so to speak, because I've got several things that I'd like to accomplish before I leave this earth. One of them is to decrease the maternal mortality rate in America. We are the only industrialized nation in the world where the maternal mortality rate is rising, and we have the highest one. That's just unacceptable. And there are many components to that. It has to do access to care and our obesity crisis, which is funny. We're not the only country that's got an obesity crisis, but 1 out of 3 of us are obese, 2 out of 3 overweight. And so let's talk about pregnancy. First of all, why is it an athletic event? And then let's talk about what women should be doing before they engage in this athletic event. Then I've got an interesting study that's entitled Regular Exercises Have Stronger Pelvic Floor Muscles Than Non-Regular Exercises at Mid-Pregnancy, a study that came out of Norway. So if I could just have my wish, I would love all my pregnant women to be normal weight and in shape. And I've got a few that are kind of like that, and they're athletes. And I say, wow, and I tell them, your delivery is going to be a piece of cake. And they say, really? I said, yeah. I tell them, you're going to spit this baby out like it's nothing. And those that are listening to this will probably get chuckles out of it because they've heard me say that. You're going to spit this baby out like it's nothing because you're strong, you know how to squat, and you're going to have this done. I mean, you're going to look at it as an athletic event. You're going to knock it out.
yeah, we've had a couple of those people be members at Forge RX.
Yeah.
Who I turn around and they're back at the gym in a couple of weeks. I'm like, you look like you didn't have a baby.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So,
yeah.
Is there like a difference in like how long it takes to deliver the baby? Because I mean, it takes like I can see like it from 24 hours it takes them 10 hours or a couple hours instead of a full day worth of putting in work.
Yes, and there's actually studies that have shown that women that are fit that they have shorter like pushing phases. So. So there's a couple of stages of labor. The first stage of labor gets you to 10 centimeters. Fitness probably, I'm not sure really is going to affect that much. But then the second stage where you start pushing, the stronger you are and the more flexible you are, the more able you are to squat. Yes. So the average time for pushing in someone who doesn't have an epidural is like 15 minutes to an hour. You have an epidural and it's a couple hours. But even, all of them, if they're really physically fit and can squat, those numbers then scrunch down because they can just, it's an athletic event and they can just push this kid out.
Does it increase their ability to have like a normal pregnancy instead of a C-section as well? Because I feel like most women would not want to have a C-section.
Yes. So the C-section rate in 1970 was 3%. Now the national average in America is 34%. Mine's 16%.
Yeah.
So, and why is someone 16% versus 34%? Well, I think it's, how patient are you with that person and how long you're going to give them to labor and push. So I'm just someone that gives them extra time. And I pull out all the stops, especially when it's a first-time mom, because I know it affects the rest of her pregnancy career. She got 1 1/2, 3 or 4 kids. You have a low threshold for cutting the baby out the first time. Then she's either going to have a vaginal birth after C-section the second time around, or she's going to have a repeat C-section. And then that factors into her mortality rate. I mean, the more C-sections you do, the more moms you're going to lose because an operation like that has risk. And the number 1, 2, 3 causes of death during childbirth is bleeding. And that's usually seen in the setting of an operation. So if you can avoid that, boy, you've cut down on the maternal mortality rate significantly. So if you can just make your focus vaginal birth, normal birth, so normal weight, good physical fitness. I mean, you don't have to be a CrossFitter. You don't have to be an Olympian. But, you need to be reasonably in shape. And so what is it in the fitness world that kind of focused on being able to squat, be flexible, have good, abdominal muscles so that you can Valsalva and you can push,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it doesn't really matter what you do for fitness. I mean, obviously, as you build up in your pregnancy, you want to be smart about it and, not going crazy hard pre-pregnancy, even though I've seen some crazy CrossFitters doing Olympic lifts while they're babies, probably doing flips in their tummy. But, some kind of strength training program, whether it's, obviously we offer things, but, your dumbbells, your kettlebells, maybe some barbell stuff, being smart about it. But there should be some kind of strength progression. You should be getting stronger in these movements. You should be able to see that your push-ups are going from 8 reps to 9 reps to 10 reps. If you're doing a lunge, you should be increasing your weight. Like, for example, I've been doing walk-in lunges every Thursday, and I went from 40-pound dumbbell to 45 to 50, and the next week I'll do 55. And then there'll be a point where I can't add more weight, so I'll add more reps. And that's pretty much the progression. And that way I can see that I'm either adding sets or I'm adding reps or I'm adding weight. And that's how I know I'm building muscle. And that's how it should be for everybody. It shouldn't be too random. You should be doing movements that include you pressing overhead, pressing, horizontally, vertically, same thing with pulling, squat variations, so regular squats, lunges, deadlift variations, bridges, maybe some crunches, but also like plank variations. That way it's helping like resist using your lower back to strengthen those muscles. And if you think about it, I guess when you're in those stirrups, it's like an inverted squat. So doing a bunch of squats, even doing squats where you hold it in the bottom of the movement. So you do tempo where you go down and you hold the bottom of a squat where you're really braced, your core is really tight, and then you stand up out of the movement. I think those would be, just off the top, I haven't trained a lot of pregnant women, but that would be like a really big go-to.
Yeah. So that's kind of the fitness part. And, some of that applies to before pregnancy and then during pregnancy and then after pregnancy. We're talking about maybe a couple of things that may be contraindications to exercises during pregnancy. But let's say in the weight part, let's say you've got someone who's needs to lose about 20, 25 pounds, thinking about having a baby in 6 months. What do you think she should do to drop 20, 30 pounds in a 6-month period? Is that a doable?
Yeah, that's very doable. And you want to take your time to get there. That way you're not crash dieting, because then you'll just yo-yo after. So, losing 3 to 4 pounds, or 1% of your body weight every week is always like a good judge to be able to do that. So that would give you plenty of time, 3, 4, 5 pounds a month, slowly progressing, moving forward, good nutrition where you're in a slight deficit, and then a strength training program that makes sense for you. So, it might be your first kid, or you might have a couple kids and your life is a little hectic. You're preparing for that. So maybe for you, it looks like 2 or 3 sessions at home or coming into a gym, doing some kind of full body program. That way you're maximizing your time. You're not having to be in the gym all the time. And then going for walks outside of that just to keep your steps up, maybe your heart health, your endurance, stuff like that would always make sense.
Okay. So let's move on to pregnancy. And this is an interesting study that came out of Norway. And they basically looked at pregnant women that were exercisers and non-exercisers. And they actually, leaving out all the kind of gory details, but this is the first time that someone really measured some pressure changes in different parts of their body when they exercised and after they exercised, and showed some kind of notable changes and try to correlate it with strength, and also whether they had urinary incontinence during pregnancy and after pregnancy. And all that is good, and don't want to get too much into the details of it because it's very technical. And one of the things that the researchers said is that we need more studies in pregnant women on things like that. But so sometimes people ask me, are there some pregnant women that really shouldn't be exercising at all, or should they be careful? And there's a couple. So there's a condition called cervical incontinence, which is basically a weak opening to the womb, and that cervix is just weak from either it's just congenitally weak, she was born with a weak cervix, or she's had some kind of operation under the cervix to remove part of it, usually for like precancerous abnormalities. Now it's weak, and they need something called a cerclage. And those women probably really should not exercise. And especially the study that showed the pressure changes in the vagina, that could really weaken the cervix and cause the baby to come early, even if she has one of those special stitches in the cervix. The other group that needs to be careful are women who have a strong history for preterm labor and preterm delivery. So now they deliver their baby very early. And again, it kind of goes to a weaker cervix. And they probably shouldn't be doing some of the things that we're talking about here. And then there's maybe a third group that they have some kind of a blood pressure problem. But you can see how all those things kind of can be traced back to being overweight and having a greater propensity, becoming hypertensive, diabetic. It all just kind of goes together. So if we could get their weight down before pregnancy, keep their weight gain normal during pregnancy, they're much less likely to develop hypertension and preeclampsia and diabetes and have to have a C-section. It's all interconnected. We know what we need to do. We know what the formula is to make childbirth so much more safe.
Yeah, I mean, that's where just, having a really good trainer and being able to communicate with your physician, and then two working together, because, obviously you're an OBGYN and you're saying that it's important for people to exercise building into the pregnancy and to not be overweight. So it's obviously a good thing. You've seen the benefits of it. Yeah. So having more doctors, being able to network with, personal trainers like we can, and get the job done.
Yeah. So at the beginning of this article, it says, today, all healthy pregnant women are encouraged to be physically active throughout pregnancy, with recommendations to participate in at least 30 minutes of aerobic activity on most days of the week. In addition, they are recommended to perform strength training of the major muscle group 2 to 3 days per week.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I wrote that article.
Yeah. And then a Cochrane review concluded that pelvic floor muscle training during pregnancy has a level 1A, which is prospective randomized, the best research evidence to prevent and treat urinary incontinence. I'm a reconstructive pelvic surgeon, so I fix leaky bladders, and it's usually seen after childbirth. And so again, enter pregnancy, normal weight, Keep your weight down, don't have all these complications, exercise some during pregnancy, not just aerobic stuff, but also pelvic floor exercises and strength training. Put the whole package together, and bam, you'll have a fabulous outcome.
Right. You want to be healthy. You want the baby to be healthy. You want to be able to bounce back to your, close to your pre-baby body as fast as you can. So why not? I mean, you don't want to go through depression after, or have this added weight, and you have a kid, and then you have your husband, and that just sounds super stressful.
Yeah. And you're a millennial, and you've got, 2 siblings, a brother and a sister that are also millennials. And one thing that your group has done, the millennials, because of the Great Recession in 2008, you guys, that as a group, you guys have delayed getting married. You've delayed starting your family. So now we've got women that may be overweight and obese, and now they're older on top of that, more older than maybe in years past. And so that's just going to compound the problem.
Yeah, and I guess just a quick tidbit on nutrition. They don't have to eat for 2, right? They just need to eat, a couple extra 100 calories above whatever their potential maintenance calories are during their pregnancy to feed the baby. It doesn't have to be like, all out feast, right?
So back in 1985, when I was starting out as a medical student and resident, I was told that the ideal perfect pregnancy never gains more than about 20 pounds for the entire pregnancy. And so 15 to 20 pounds was the recommendation. And hardly anyone did it after 85. And obstetricians prior to that point in time really held your feet to the fire and really demanded that you didn't gain this excess weight. Now the average weight gain in the pregnancy is probably about 35 pounds. So now we've gone from 20 to 35. We're almost doubled it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just where, having someone educated nutrition comes into play, and networking and working together, because, you guys are really good at delivering babies, but, you didn't go to medical school for nutrition and exercise. So you would think that there'd be more OBGYNs and strength training coaches that will work together to make sure that it all smooths out nice and easy.
So now we've got the pandemic. We've got the pandemic. Everyone's gained more weight. So now we've made that even worse. The weight and the obesity thing. People are more sedentary, and now they're adding a pregnancy to that, and there's stress eating. You can see how this is just, and the data on this is kind of like a big cruise ship. A cruise ship is not a little motorboat that you can just pivot out on the water. You just spin that sucker around, or a jet ski that you can just do a 180 on. This is a cruise ship, and the data is slowly changing, and it's heading in the wrong direction, and it's going to take a monumental effort to steer this thing back into the right area.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All righty. So Happy New Year. We got 2021 now. It's January. What is today? The 8th.
It is.
It is January 8th. And so welcome to Fitness Friday. I'm Dr. Joe, and this is Evan Pohl. We're discussing how pregnancy should be viewed as an athletic event. It is an athletic event, so I encourage anyone listening or watching this on the replay to take your pregnancy seriously. It is serious business. It is a natural process, but if you handicap yourself with medical comorbidities, and that includes obesity, you're going to be interfering with that natural process, and you're going to be at risk for some potentially serious complications. We want to avoid that.
Hey, get your husband or your boyfriend on board, right? Because they usually gain weight during the pregnancy too, right? They kind of just like stress eat.
That's right.
Is there a saying behind that? Isn't it like I don't know.
Yeah, so I weighed 140 pounds in high school. I was just a skinny soccer player, cross-country runner. And then every time your mom got pregnant, I think I probably gained 10 pounds. So when we got married, I probably was about 160, 170. By the time you were around, I was about 170, 180. By the time Brian came around, I was probably 180, 190. By the time Lauren was born, I was 200. So I was eating for everybody, you know.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So it affects the partner as well. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at it as an excuse. You know, she's pregnant, so
Yeah.
she's hungry, so we're just going to eat.
Yeah. That's where that accountability comes in.
Accountability. That's right. All righty. Any other words of wisdom before we part?
If you're pregnant or thinking about being pregnant and you need a coach, just shoot me an email. There you go. Boom. Good timing. Or find me on Facebook or Instagram, Coach Evan Pohl or Evan Pohl, and just shoot me a message and be like, you can just message me, I'm pregnant, and then I'll know what to do.
Sounds good. And if you ever have any questions,
don't do that. Just be like, hey, I saw the video and I'd like to talk to you about helping me exercise during pregnant. Because you say I'm pregnant, I'm like, I don't know you. It's not my baby.
There you go.
That's a horrible joke, and we'll just leave it at that.
All righty. Well, I'll tell my fans I'll see them all tomorrow, and maybe go back to a non-pregnancy type topic.
There you go.
Have a good Friday. It's Fitness Friday, and for us, it's going to be Pizza Friday as well.
There you go. It sounds great.
I'm just going to have one slice, a big salad and one slice.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. Just a quick tip: eat healthy throughout the day. That way, don't go into the meal ravenous. Have a salad, have a slice, or maybe two, and then you're full, close to full, or you're full, and then just the next day move on, and you should be able to fit that stuff in. So.
Yeah. So I had a cup of coffee for breakfast this morning. You know, I was in the operating room this morning at 7:30, and then at lunch I had a big vegetable lentil soup, and so I'm going to treat myself to my pizza tonight.
There you go.
See, that all balances itself out.
Exactly. All right. Catch you later.
Catch you later. Bye.